this morning for this service. Our mission at Sunnyhill is to create a more just and compassionate community within and beyond our walls. My name is Rebecca Senaway, and I serve as a worship associate for this congregation. If you're a newcomer or a visitor to our congregation, please go to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says New to Sunnyhill to receive more information about our congregation and to sign up to receive our weekly email newsletter, The Beat. And if you'd like to be greeted as a newcomer during our coffee time, please take a red mug and members will seek you out. If you're joining us online today, please say hello or good morning in the comments on Facebook or YouTube. We'd like to hear from you and extend a welcome to you as well. Attention, please. Before I ask you to silence your phones, I would like to ask you to get them out. Scan this QR code and buy a ticket to the Sunnyhill Carnival. The Carnival is our biggest fundraiser of the year. It is a party. It is a wonderful time. We come together as a community. We bid on auction items. We have a meal together. And it's a wonderful evening that everyone here is invited to. So please buy your ticket. The early bird ticket price of $20 ends today. There is also a limited quantity of tickets, and once they sell out, they sell out. So please don't wait. Buy your ticket. If you have questions, we are tabling between services from now until April 20th, the day of the party. And you can see Nanette, Elizabeth, Mortimer, we can all help you if you have any questions about donations or how to buy tickets. And then also a gentle reminder to please silence your phones during the service. Put them away now. Today's service is titled, Attention Please. One of the greatest challenges in life is paying attention. Sometimes when things are difficult to experience, we really don't want to pay attention. Other times we simply forget. However, when we do pay attention, we're better able to cope with reality and to appreciate all the good in our lives and in our world. Our opening words were written by Alana Westbrook. In a world ravaged by violence, by hatred, by conflicts that seem eternal and insoluble, sometimes the only thing we can do is be still for a moment, to remind ourselves what is real, the sun that rose this morning, the dirt under our feet, the air whispering in and out of our lungs. This hour, try just to be present in each moment as it unfolds. Your simple attention is what makes these moments holy. Please join me in saying the words to light our chalice. Let us walk with each other through the journey of life, attentive to the path and its challenges, illuminating the dark places and leading with love.
Attention, please. Before we sing our opening hymn, I need to make one more plug. Did you know in just under 2 weeks, the COA kids, our coming of age kids, are hosting a Sunnyhill coffee house here. It's March 16th, a Saturday night. It is not to be mixed. It's a really fun thing. We are still looking for performers. So if you are willing and able and generous enough to share your talents, please look at the Beat and follow the link to sign up as a performer. And otherwise, please come. It's a really fun evening. And the proceeds will benefit the Coming of Age and Youth Group Bridging Retreat at the end of the year. Now, please rise, embody your spirit, and lend your voices to our opening hymn, Do You Hear?
In the
Please be seated.
Good morning, friends. If there are any kiddos present that want to come up for our time for all ages, now is your chance. Good morning, friends. How y'all doing today? Pretty good? All right. Once there were two friends walking down the sidewalk of a busy street during rush hour. There was all sorts of noise in the city. Car horns honking, feet shuffling, people talking. And amid all this noise, one of the friends turned to the other and said, "I hear a cricket." "No way," her friend responded. "How could you possibly hear a cricket with all of this noise? You must be imagining it. Besides, I've never seen a cricket in this city." "No, really, I do hear a cricket. I'll show you." She stopped for a moment, then led her friend across the street to a big cement planter with a tree in it. Pushing back some leaves, she found a little brown cricket. "That's amazing," said her friend. "You must have superhuman hearing. What's your secret?" "No, my hearing's just the same as yours. There's no secret," the first woman replied. "Watch, I'll show you." She reached into her pocket, pulled out some loose change, and threw it on the sidewalk. Amid all the noise of the city, everyone within 30 feet turned their head to see where the sound of the money was coming from. "See," she said, "it's all a matter of what you're listening for." In the words of Adrienne Marie Brown, what you pay attention to grows. What this story and those words remind me is the importance of focusing my attention on the things that are most important to me and my values. If, like the person in the story, we focus on listening to the music of nature and the call for justice, we can shift our awareness in a meaningful way. And that is the first step in making this world a better place. And with that, we'll head downstairs to our class. Let's sing the children out.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go, as you go, may joy surround you. As you go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go. We traveled long, we traveled far to be right here where we are. Reach out a hand, no need to fear, 'cause all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. The night was dark, but the day is bright. Together we can lift our eyes to all we love, and we
My name is Jean Ferlin, and I'm a member of the Pastoral Care Team. Our mission is to provide hope and caring so that none of our members feel alone. Our covenant to the congregation is to support those going through a life crisis, maintain contact with those unable to attend church due to illness or disability, friends and family involved in caregiving, comfort the bereaved, and support and comfort each other. The pastoral care team is made up of Sunnyhill members who have received training in how to be a caring, listening presence for our members. We don't function as therapists or social workers, but as individuals who are willing to sit or walk with those in need of support. We hope that you will contact a member of the pastoral care team when you have a need. If you have any questions, please contact Reverend Jim or a member of the team. You can submit a joy or sorrow on Sunnyhill's website or by filling out a form in the foyer. Now it's time for our joys and sorrows. After I read a joy or sorrow, please respond by saying, "We hold you in our hearts." And this morning we have one sorrow from Ellen Vay. She writes, March 18th marks the second anniversary of my brother Daniel's death. He was found dead, naked, in his bathroom by the police. He was 60 years old and left behind two girls, ages 12 and 17. I found out about a year ago from the autopsy report that he was an alcoholic and clearly had been for many years. My surviving brother and I had no idea. I am thinking about Daniel a lot these days and have many questions that I will never get an answer to. To Ellen and her family, we hold you in our hearts. As we listen to our musical meditation, we invite anyone who feels moved to do so, come forward, light a candle, place it in the sand, and return to your seat.
Please join me in the spirit of meditation or prayer. Amid the storms of life in whatever form they take, amid the fracturing of all that once seemed solid, amid feelings of being lost and adrift in chaos, we pause to reach within and among ourselves that we might sense the spirit of life itself, might experience its steadying presence. The whirling storms subside towards stillness. That which is fractured begins to heal, and we begin to find our way again. When we pause to reach within and among ourselves, we sense the spirit of life begin to emerge, a sighing presence in the storm, the brokenness, the chaos. Let us pause for a moment of silence so that we might sense what lies beneath. Spirit of life, may we sense your presence singing in our hearts, blowing, rising, moving, giving shape to our longings for love and justice, rooting us in each passing moment and then the next, setting us free with wings woven from grace and wonder. Come to us, hold us close, now and always. Amen. Last Sunday, my sermon focused on cultivating gratitude and how to appreciate all of life, the highs and lows, the joys and sorrows, and all the rest. This week, I'm exploring what I think of as a precursor to gratitude, which is attention. You can't be grateful unless you're paying attention to what's going on in and around you. Way back when I was in my early 20s, which seems in some ways like 2 or 3 lifetimes ago, I found myself at a crossroads in life. I had dropped out of college and was feeling completely directionless, had no idea at all what I wanted to do next. My sister was kind enough to let me live with her while I sorted things out. I knew that I needed to get a job, and so I took the first job that I could find, which was as a fry cook at a Hardee's fast food restaurant in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where I lived at that time. It had all the glamour that you expect from a fast food job, I'll put it that way. It was a minimum wage job, and I would say that at the beginning I was doing a minimum amount of work. I was a little dazed. I'd never had a real job before, let alone a job in the food industry, and so I felt like I was always 2 or 3 steps behind where I actually needed to be. As I said, I really had no idea what I was doing. One evening, as I was standing around, lost in a little bit of haze, my manager, Richard, came up to me, kind of got right into my face, and said, "The first thing you've got to do is wake up and pay attention." At first, I was angry because it seemed a little bit insulting. But I decided to listen to him anyway because in the end, I really did need that job. So I started paying attention to what was happening around me. Eventually, I learned how to read the crowds as they came in the doors, to know how many burgers to start cooking on the grill and how many baskets of fries to drop in the deep fryer. I learned how to get the necessary cleaning done in between the rushes of customers. I learned how to check on supplies and stock up in order to be prepared for the next crowd that would come in. Now, when he told me to wake up and pay attention, I really doubt that my boss, Richard, thought that he was giving me spiritual advice. He just wanted to challenge me to start doing a better job. But I must say that his admonition to be more aware of what was happening around me was the start of something new and important for me. I started to see that no matter what kind of work was before me, no matter how humble or grand it might be, I could bring a kind of focus to the work that would not only enable me to do a better job, but would also bring me into that moment and give me a greater sense of knowing what was going on, both around me and within me. It marked a new beginning for me. I did start doing a better job and was soon promoted to the lofty position of assistant manager, which means they can work you all the time without paying you any overtime. And eventually found my way back into college and finished my undergraduate degree at the University of North Carolina. From that one small moment forward, my personal journey has been one of becoming more fully awake to this moment. And that journey of awakening and paying attention has intensified tenfold since becoming a minister. It's not always easy or comfortable to wake up and pay attention to what's going on around us, because sometimes what we see is not so great. Sometimes we see things in our lives or in the world that desperately need to be changed. On the other hand, when we work to become more fully aware, we are also able to see great beauty that we would otherwise not see. But the religious journey is always one of waking up and paying attention. In an article in the New Republic, author and journalist Michelle Dean writes, "Not too long ago, I saw on the internet a photograph of a very small baby raccoon sitting on a road. And the caption read, 'When you realize you don't want to be responsible for anything anymore and you just want to nap and be small.'" Dean continues, "I have deliberately arranged my life so that I see pictures of cute animals on the internet every day. But I'm not usually seized by them the way I was by this one. The desire to abdicate, to give up, for me, that's primal. Like anyone else alive right now, I spend a lot of days fighting off a flight response. Every day brings fresh fear and fresh outrage. And though we have all these tiny little outlets of action in our lives, the internet posts and the petitions and the marches, no single one of them can fix this." She goes on, The world is on the verge of something. And one way to look at it is that we are climbing up the arc of the moral universe. But from our present vantage, it's very hard to see if it's bending toward justice the way Martin Luther King said. Paying attention, she says, is the only thing that guarantees insight. It is the only real weapon we have against power, too. You can't fight things that you can't actually see. Paying attention to what's going on, even when it's ugly and terrifying, is the only way we'll have any chance of bending the arc toward justice. And by the way, I can't help but mention that MLK borrowed that arc of the moral universe metaphor from one of the most famous Unitarian ministers of all time, Theodore Parker, who in 1853 said, "I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience. And from what I see, I am sure it bends toward justice." For both Parker and King, the arc metaphor was a statement of faith, an expression of a deep and abiding belief that in the fullness of time, love and justice will triumph over fear and injustice. But what we have learned in recent decades is that the arc of the moral universe will not bend even an inch unless some force is applied, and it's up to us to provide that force. There is, however, a difference between paying attention to what's going on and becoming obsessed by it. So it's important to strike some sort of balance. We have to find ways of paying attention not just to the horrible stream of toxic news and the many daunting challenges in the world around us, but also find ways of paying attention to those small, sometimes hard to see, beautiful things in the world and in our lives. In other words, we need to find ways of paying attention to the baby raccoons too. The sweetness and joy, the goodness and the beauty that are a part of everyday living. Edward Feinstein tells a story, one of my favorite stories, about a man who lived many, many years ago who had given up on life. He no longer found any joy or purpose in his work, in his family, in any aspect of his community. And one night he called out to God, "Show me the way to paradise. I'm through with this world." And to his surprise, a voice of God answered him, "Are you sure this is what you want?" And the man said, "Yes." And so the voice told him the way to get to paradise. It turns out it wasn't that hard to get there, and it was pretty close, only a couple of days' journey by foot. So one afternoon, the man set off down the road on his way to paradise. As it got dark, he decided to take a break and sleep for the night beneath a leafy tree that was at the side of the road. Just before he went to sleep, it occurred to him that when he woke up in the morning, he might be a little disoriented and forget which way he was going down the road. So to make sure he was going the right way, he set his shoes down next to the road in the direction in which he was traveling. Now, I don't know how it happened, whether it was a small animal or an angel or other celestial creature. But during the night, the man's shoes got turned around. And so it was when he took off the next day after eating fruit from the tree beneath which he had slept, he was actually traveling back toward the village from which he had come. But as he came close to the village, he beheld it in a way that he never had before, and he thought, surely this must be paradise. What a beautiful place this is. It's exceeding my expectations in every way. He walked through the village gates and sat down in the middle of the square and thought how different this place was from his own village. His village was noisy and bothersome, but here everything buzzed with life. And he heard the noises of the children playing and the adults working with one another. And he felt so content. And then later on, as people went home, he caught the aroma of all those dinners being cooked. And he started to get hungry. And he said, you know, when I look at this place, there are some similarities to my own village. I wonder if there's a street like my street in paradise. And he went and found, sure enough, there was a street very much like his own street, and a house very much like his own house. And he was astounded and stood staring in front of the house for several moments before a woman who bore a striking resemblance to his wife came out and said, "What are you doing? Come in, your supper's getting cold." And so the man thought to himself, how amazing. They know my name in paradise. There is a place set for me at the table here. And he sat down and he ate this woman's soup, and it was the most delicious meal he had had in his life. And that night when he went to sleep in a bed very much like his own, he found that he got more rest than he could ever remember getting for years and years. He woke the next morning to find the woman who looked like his wife handing him his lunchbox and saying, "It's time to go to work." And he was a little bit surprised. Work in paradise? Whoever thought of such a thing? But then he considered, well, there are things probably to be done here just like anywhere else. And so he went off to work, but he found that it was nothing like the job he had had. Before, his job was filled with all of these coworkers who were awful. They were just difficult people to be around. He always wished that he could be doing something else. But now he found them fascinating, and he found the work full of purpose, and being a part of the team meant something to him. And that evening he came back to the same wonderful soup cooked by the same woman. And so it went. And do you know, for the rest of his life, no one could ever convince this man that he had not gone to paradise. And every one of his days from that point forward was filled with more wonder, more purpose, more joy, and more life than the day before. Some people might say that this man was simply deluded. But I would say that he was awake and paying attention in a way that he had never done before. I hope and pray that we will learn to pay attention to both the immense challenges we are facing as individuals and as a nation, and the great beauty that is already present in our lives and in the amazing world around us. For it is only in paying attention that we might be, in turn, paid back with invaluable insight about life and living. May it be so. Amen.
Please rise again, body or spirit, to join in singing our hymn, Wake Now My Senses.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in awe. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who calls for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my conscience with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Our Share the Plate beneficiary for the month of March is Ceasefire PA, whose mission is to end the epidemic of gun violence across the state and across our country through education, coalition building, and advocacy. 50% of all of our offerings in March will go to Ceasefire PA, and the other 50% will support Sunnyhill. If you'd like to make a gift via our online giving system, you can do so by going to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says Online Giving, and then follow the instructions. Or you can give by text at 412-324-3130. All text gifts will go to our Share the Plate offering. We'll be passing around our offering baskets for cash and checks in just a moment. If you are writing a check, please put Share the Plate in the memo line. Thank you so much for your generosity. please join me in saying the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, nope, not the way, the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As we part, do not fail to be surprised by the catching of your breath, the quickening of your heart, the fullness of your eyes, wide and suddenly awake. The world is filled with wonder, ready to be born anew. Do not fail to notice. Go in peace.